So Doug, your organization partnered with the Southwest Nevada Home Builders Association and created Water Smart Home program. And could you describe the program, how it's going, and maybe comment on why you developed a program, a distinct program, as opposed to maybe merging into other programs that existed?
Well, at that time, there were no other programs, and that was part of the challenge. So if I can, to put it in context, how this program came into being, back in 2002, the Colorado River, which provides part or all of the water supply for 30 million people in the West, that's 1 out of every 10 Americans has some connection to the Colorado River. It flowed at 25% of average, and nobody had ever seen that before. It was not in the historical record. It wasn't supposed to happen, and it told us that we were in a very severe drought situation. At the time, Southern Nevada was adding typically 70, 80, even 100,000 people during the middle of the past decade to the population every year. Home building was a major job producer because those people all needed houses. And around 2002, 2003, we would build about 25,000 brand new homes every single year. It was literally like adding a small city to the city on an annual basis, 80,000 people a year. You have a water shortage. Lake Mead is dropping like a rock, sometimes as much as a foot a week on a 250 square mile lake. And what you get out of that in the political environment is a lot of anti-growth sentiment. Well, these new people, you're asking us to save water, but all these people are moving here, and obviously the economy creates that situation. There was definitely a need to change the way we were doing things. And not only was it a need, it was an opportunity. I always say conservation loves a crisis, because it is an opportunity where you can move very quickly with a reason and get some of the things done that you ran into brick walls on, for decades before. There were several utilities that were talking to EPA, and there was no WaterSense program back then. And we were talking to them about the need for a program that was similar to Energy Star, and we really wanted a home labeling program. And EPA was very receptive to that, but they said the life cycle of creating something like that could be 7 years. And I didn't have 7 years to wait. So in 2004, we worked with the home builders, and this is, again, an example of how things used to work. I go in there as a conservation professional, and I've got a laundry list of everything that ought to go into a house that's going to make it super efficient. So I sit down and I meet with all the members of the Southern Nevada Home Builders. KB was one of those. And we go, we'd like to have all these fabulous devices in a house, and we'll brand it as a Water Smart Home. How's that sound? And they look at the list and they go, well, what is this thing and how much does it cost? Go, well, first of all, that's a problem. What is this thing? That means that we were looking at technologies that may not have been readily available if nobody knew quite what that was. And cost was a concern as well. You can't go out there and ask someone to put several $1,000s worth of gadgetry into a house and be competitive with the other builders that they have to compete with. So we started with our laundry list, but we got a lot of wonderful feedback from the home builders. And what we were looking for was basically affordable, reliable technology. It had to be things that contractors knew how to use it. It couldn't be something completely new that you had to teach them what it was and how to get it into the house. We definitely wanted our program to be able to nest with other emerging efforts like green building, U.S. Green Building Council's LEED program, some other initiatives going on in the cities and so forth. In 2005, we built the first Water Smart Homes. In fact, KB was the builder of our first Water Smart Home. Right now, KB Home and Pulte Homes make the biggest difference in our program. The homes have a great number of features, I guess, that work in concert, and each of them providing some increment of water savings. So we have high-efficiency plumbing fixtures, high-efficiency appliances. That includes the dishwasher and the washing machine, and a lot of folks would say, well, a washing machine is not part of a house, but the home builders sell those products to the home buyer, and if they provide it, they had to provide a high-efficiency machine. We needed more efficient hot water systems. And, hot water systems in and of themselves are not an enormous water waster, but the consumer perceives them to be one of the biggest wastes of water because you inconvenience them while they're wasting water. So when they ask for hot water and they have to stand there and wait for it, they perceive that as the single biggest waste in their entire household. If you look at the numbers, it certainly isn't, but we wanted to have that be more efficient. And if I give them a more aggressively efficient faucet, then they perceive they're wasting even more water because it takes that much longer for hot water to arrive. So we have that. The biggest difference, though, in our homes occurs in the irrigation, landscape irrigation, and landscape design. I'd be happy to let the one gentleman who asked the questions this morning know that we do have a pressure management requirement. Every home has to be pressure regulated to 60 psi. We also pressure regulate the irrigation systems that are serving the landscaping of that home because that not only saves water, it means that these devices have a better lifespan. They're less likely to rupture or fail at 60 psi than the 80 that's typically being provided to them, or in some cases, if they don't have a pressure regulator, as they should, the 120 psi that may sneak to some of these fixtures. Since that time, there have been more than 7,500 of these homes built. Some of them have been built to our program standards and have also received LEED Platinum certification, so we're excited that our program Nests fits very well into other green building programs. And 2005, it takes a while to figure out what the influence of these measures are. You can't go out, build a house in 2005, and come back in 2006 and say, well, how'd it do? How much water is it using? Because people have to move in, start living, finish out their backyard. They've got to become comfortable in their home and well established in their home. We went back and we looked at those houses after they'd been established long enough. We recently did that. I think this is an important story, not just about water smart homes, but part of that analysis said, what is the average water use of 1990 to 1993 homes, modern homes that predate federal water efficiency standards for plumbing fixtures? And we looked at that and we charted it out. And we said, okay, well, let's look at 1995 homes that should have more efficient fixtures, 95 to 2000. Let's look at those homes. And we graphed that out in my community, and it looked the same, meaning that landscape irrigation was obscuring all the efficiency indoors, and this is true in almost every city right now. And then we said, well, let's look at very modern homes. Let's look at 2000 to 2003. We had a lot of drought stuff going on. People were getting ramped up about water efficiency. And we looked at those very new homes, and they laid over that curve identically. So a 2003 home was using water exactly the same way as a 1990 home for the most part. And then we looked at the homes that we built after 2003, including the WaterSmart homes, and they used half as much water as the homes that were in the standing inventory before we implemented our drought measures and implemented the program. And that's a meaningful difference. So don't be misled to believe that new homes already are very efficient. If you're in the West and you have significant irrigation demands, in many, many cities, new homes, because of their landscape irrigation, are using as much as 25% more water than the homes that are already in the standing inventory. And we have to change that. We can't dig the hole deeper. We're supposed to be fixing a problem, right? So look at that. If you want to know more, we're real excited. KB and Pulte continue to build homes in our community, even though development has ramped down pretty substantially. And we're really excited about our partnership with Habitat for Humanity. They also build WaterSmart homes in our community and recently built the first Habitat LEED Platinum certified homes. If you want to know more about exactly what are the specs of these homes, you can go to snwa.com, and in the search box, just type in WaterSmart home. You'll find all that information online.